And
Mm,
oftentimes, like when we're born and we're going through journey, that whole essence of imagination is not cultivated.
mhm.
What I find is more cultivated is programming in such a way that we repeat the legacies of the people who program us.
Exactly.
Build $1 million legacy with purpose.
The value of your life is going to be determined by the level in which you choose to operate on. What
Okay.
I learned is that the higher level of value that you choose to operate on in this marketplace is going to determine the level of value that you get to experience in this marketplace. And this marketplace, as we are identifying right now, is called the marketplace of life.
You said a mouthful. Okay. It's
So
like, look, wait a minute. Okay, y'all. We
I'm thinking about this as I'm saying it.
okay.
I'm thinking about this as I'm saying it.
Okay, this is
I
coming
do,
live and this is coming fresh off of the mind. And what's
yeah.
so good about it, we can tell this because we used to come in live, but what's amazing about this sister is coming this strong at 8:30 p.m. 8:35 p.m.
Now, Tamiko, I had just forgot about that because we were just in the virtual green room talking about how amazing our day was. And I was thinking about 8:30 p.m. then, but when I just said that, I wasn't thinking about 8:30 p.m. I was just thinking.
That way you know it's for real, for real.
So I'm excited to have this conversation today. It's gonna be I think, Tamiko, this is gonna be one of my faves.
Okay,
Uh,
let's claim it. All right.
I really do. I think it's gonna be one of my faves. Y'all know I read a lot, right?
We do.
You do.
We do.
Okay, so if you've heard that Dr. Marnita has said like for the umpteenth time, you remember when your mom said like umpteenth time?
Yeah, usually when I heard umpteenth, that means I was gonna be in the house for a couple of days.
Come on, y'all know what we talking about. Don't play with it. Don't play with it.
I was gonna be
Um,
locked
but I
down.
read a lot. Can you put yes, Marnita? Just put yes, Marnita in the comment section. So today, um, first of all, I already said my name, but I am Dr. Marnita on fire. Hey. Your achievement and performance coach, and we're having combos for your calling under the umbrella of Build $1 Million Legacy. But I had to remind myself what this season was about, Tamiko, and this season's 3 is all about raw. So there's my formal introduction for tonight, wherever you are and
It's
whenever
day
you are
somewhere.
listening to this in this like context right here, and I want to introduce you to. She's going to introduce herself. She is I think this woman is so amazing, girl.
Thank
I'm so
you.
glad to call you a friend.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to call you a friend too. And as they say, iron sharpens irons, because as we all know, this is Tamiko Ruby J here, your spiritual coach and mentor and Reiki master teacher, and soon to be. Ooh, I got some news, but I ain't gonna tell you now. And it takes a very strong, very patient and very bad A woman to be able to hang with me, because as we all know, I don't suffer fools.
All right. I love her. She is amazing. She is absolutely inspiring, and she um Tamiko, I have never had a friend like you before.
Girl, I'm one in a million. They don't make them
I
like
just
me.
thought about that.
Ask Barbara.
And I'm 16.
But
And
thank
this
you.
friendship has like really grown over the past little bit more than a year. And I think we've known each other almost forever, almost. I feel like it's been forever. We've known of each other
Yeah, we've
forever
been floating in the same atmosphere for a long time, for
for a
probably
long
30
time.
years. Yeah,
But the
probably.
way we came together and connected, and we haven't let go of each other. Just think about that part. We haven't let go of each other since. And that was a little bit more than a year ago. This is April. I believe it did happen
Yep,
last year, like at the beginning of March.
at the beginning of March. Yep, I just looked it up. But yes, and that being said, but what I want to attest to that is, I don't know if you've heard this, Marnita, but I've heard, and especially women say, that it's hard to find friends or have friends after a certain age. And what I would say to that is you have to be your own friend first.
That's
Because
good.
you'll attract who you are. Okay. So what happens is there's a certain standard you'll have for yourself. And what happens is once we mature, there's certain things that you want to tolerate and certain things you don't. Like the beautiful thing about me, as much as I am an extrovert, I'm also very, very comfortable with being by myself.
Me too.
And so, that part I think is what allows me to, I'm of course, I'm always taking a class. You always reading, I'm always taking a class. But in the class that I'm in right now, and I've already had 4 classmates reach out and like, how do we keep in touch? Like, Google me. No, I'm just kidding. But it's been really cool. But I feel like the friendship is solid. The growth has been amazing because the camaraderie is very similar.
Yeah.
You're the same way. You don't you don't have to tolerate nonsense when you don't have to tolerate nonsense. Y'all, aren't y'all so proud of me? Like, so for Lent, I gave up 2 things.
I love this part, y'all. I'm gonna just
Potato
sit back and
chips.
enjoy the
Y'all
story.
that know me. Potato chips and cursing. And I did pretty doggone good.
No, girl, not pretty. So I take that adjective off of there. You did absolutely hands down amazing.
It's been interesting because there's been some stuff coming up where I'm just like, but that part. But what's also cool in this, I know we just kind of rambling right now, and I've had people say, well, like, you guys were rambling, don't watch. Okay, turn your TV off because we got those that are watching because we're having conversation, unscripted, live, real. Ah. But that being said, I realized that my potty mouth was coming from an old self because my mother was a stickler about vocabulary. And if she heard you cursing, you don't talk like that, and you're a lady. My grandparents were big on that. And I started getting old enough to be able to defy a lot of things based on my poor decision making. One of the things that I wanted to do I can because I'm grown was just cussing. Plus, I was real angry. Real.
Mm.
So for that to come up, like, wow, you poor tink tink. Grow up. All right. So yeah. So that came through this Lent season. The Lord laid hands on my mouth and I'm healed. Now that's me.
Well, it's almost like that, how, and I always gets this part because he says it so well. That what I do, that what I would like to do, I don't do, and that I would like to do, I don't do, and what I don't do, I like to do. That that whole thing Paul says about the members, like
Yes.
Our
Yeah. Just
body
read
is
that.
the members, right?
Yeah.
Like Paul got that part. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go read that part about what Paul says about the members, like how
Yeah.
it is so strong and it has control. It just uh sets itself in alignment with sin, which is meaning it misses the mark all the time.
All
And
the time. And it's being what was so powerful about that to me is it's written in jail.
it is written in jail. Like Paul, I was just, oh my God, I can't believe we
It,
all off topic already, but I can't believe you
it's
just said
Easter. We
that.
touch on the Lord's word for a minute. It's Easter. We too. It's Thursday. This ain't
Because
even.
I was just thinking about Paul today. I'm like, Paul was always inspiring people and writing these letters to
That's
Ephesus.
because he was on
And
lockdown. He got some time to think about his crazy
so
behavior.
he's speaking life into people, and this man is in jail going through his own
Jail.
struggle.
Jail.
He's
Okay.
going through his own struggle in jail and inspiring, writing, and encouraging other people out there in the world, like trying to get them right. Like
Right.
He's trying to be right. Like he's fighting to be right. And
Right.
he's right in jail. I think that's just so amazing.
Yep. And that's the thing. And so what is has shown me, and this is another thing when you know that you are in a true healed space, because one will no longer say, you know what I would have said or what I wanted to do. That's when you know that that's no longer a part of your life. When you when you done done the 30-second delay and you still sitting up there like, and then that's when see the old me would have, or the old me, because the old ain't that old. You just
The
took
old ain't that
the
old.
old ain't that old. So when you no longer have to say the old me, or I don't know if I'll
Or
ever
the younger. Remember that conversation we had, Tamiko? And like
about the
we had
younger
that,
self.
who are you aligning with, your older self? Girl, and if y'all missed that one, that's a
Yeah, that's
great
been a favorite. Yeah,
conversation to read,
yeah,
either if you haven't listened to it, it's a great conversation to visit. And if you have listened to it, it's a great conversation to revisit.
exactly. Because I've listened to it 3 times and I done learned something, and it's us talking. How about that? But yeah, that right there. So that's what's been the beauty and essence of this season and this one year. Like, the fact that we were able to get three, you know, 3 series in this time frame and staying dedicated to it. I was just having this conversation with my mom about, sticking with itness. Okay, give or take
Right.
a vacation week or two, but the staying with it, and staying relevant, and not running in trying to throw it on a TikTok or a YouTube page, just staying consistent. I cannot tell you how many times, sister, that I've gotten the words, man, this was right on time. This was just what I needed, or I needed to talk to you. And I just I went to the podcast and pulled it up, and boom, that was what I needed. I said, well, share it with 6 friends. And if you have 6 friends, share it with 3 people 3 times.
And like either before you share it or after you share it, please don't forget to go back and subscribe and
That
put
part,
on the
yes.
alert, put on the alert for the channel so you can have access and notifications of when we upload these conversations. Until we transition to our next
Yeah, we got
or
some stuff.
to our
Yeah,
next iteration of how we do this, but you still need to do the alert. And look, we want you to do the
I was
alert.
just going to say, did you just shush somebody?
I
Oh,
know.
y'all, that
Like
was a mess.
it
Anybody that
just
caught that,
said that was that 30-second pause.
man,
So
listen, I'm gonna offer. Look, since my sister slipped up,
that's
okay,
that 30-second pause. Like I heard myself
I'm
say that.
gonna offer whoever caught that you get a 30-second complimentary consult with me because my sister up here shushing people and I done stopped swinging.
Yes, that was my
Like,
30-second pause. Listen, girl, child, isn't that what? If you missed that one, go listen to some of Jasmine Crockett's conversation. Child, I don't want to take it outside, but child,
I think I'm gonna have to muscle up for Jasmine to take it off her plate because they coming for they trying to.
yeah.
Okay, but they man, listen, I got you, Jasmine. I got you.
All right now. So our conversation for today, this was good. So I hope y'all enjoyed that with us because I did. Our conversation today is all about can you have anything you imagine? That's a question.
That's it right there. We keep it real simple. And the answer to that question is
Yes.
absolutely.
But the thing is, Tamiko, the thing is, in the beginning, I started talking about different levels of values in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had a coach. I still have a coach. I still love listening to him, but I worked with him as a coach for a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he always does this in his videos, and he always talks about the levels of value in the marketplace. And he made it like so simple to imagine what that could be and what his name is Myron Golden. So what he laid out in the minute in the beginning, when I first heard it, like I was so confused.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
Mike has a way of putting some stuff that really makes you think about what he's saying. Like he is like the master of one of communication, and two of storytelling, and three of really getting some original content, and it's all based on biblical principles, and taking that thing and putting it on a blackboard so you can see, and it's laid out in such a way that you can really follow what it is he's trying to communicate with you pictorially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he was talking about the different marketplace values in the marketplace, and there's four. And so what he says is that the highest level of value in the marketplace is imagination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, it didn't land the way I understand it now. When I heard it the first time, it really didn't land the way I really understand it now, because I've listened to it over and over again, and I read so many different things over and over again. Because the first thing it says in Genesis is that we were created. He created them. Let us create them in our image.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, oftentimes, like when we're born and we're going through journey, that whole essence of imagination is not cultivated.
Mm-hmm.
What I find is more cultivated is programming in such a way that we repeat the legacies of the people who program us.
Exactly.
And it does us such injustice because we are leaving so much on the table that we are really not aware of, because that value of imagination has not been cultivated in such a way that allows us to have anything we want, that anything that we can imagine. Even when we're talking about, like I was talking to you about, like having a friend like you. That's something I always imagined. It took me 62 years to get it, but it existed in my imagination before it actually came to a place where I can experience it and be exposed to it and have conversations as we are doing now to collaborate in that space together. I've always imagined having that type of experience, but it happened before we actually got together. So it preceded the connection, the authentic connection that we have right now. It was in my imagination.
Yes.
Whether it was conscious or unconscious, it was more unconscious before that old person that I used to be, that I'm not anymore. That I'm not anymore. The new person, the younger person that I am now realize what was happening back then and can understand it for the relevancy it has for my life today.
Exactly. And if I had to break that down in its simplest form,
Tamiko is always breaking my stuff down.
because listen, look, my hair is on fire. I'm like, sister, cover with. I'm like, whoa, because y'all, I've been in class all day and a lot. I'm like, okay, but it's good. But to break it down, like with what you just said, simply stated, and I'm gonna say this, Marnita, I love your clarity and your genuine authenticity on saying that's not something. It was a mind blower to think about achieving life or life experience, life goals through imagination. Whereas what happens with creatives, it's hard for us to get heady because we always in our head about some make believe, daydreaming. But like you said, oftentimes I know for myself, I was also, I remember being like, hey, come on, get your head, get over here, pay attention. Da, 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 da. I am paying attention to my thoughts. Okay. I didn't let that conform me into the societal norm. I'm like, so what do I need to do for these grown folks to leave me alone? Clean up my room clean. Wash the dishes washed. Okay. Take off my shoes by the door. Okay. Watch my brother. Oh, I'm gonna beat him up. You know what I'm saying? Like it still was like, or I would say, come on, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get in trouble. I'm the oldest. I'm supposed to be looking out for you anyway, so I'll get in trouble first. She'll be tired by the time she gets to you. Um, but I feel like that's a huge component on what you're saying too. If it's not, if it gets reprogrammed, but if it's truly in your core, in your gut, that's where I got in trouble a lot because I wouldn't conform to the norms of what society would say that one needs to do. Okay. I'm not going to check. I'm coloring outside of the lines with my 64 box of crayons. I'm just, but that's a unicorn.
Yeah.
That's a unicorn.
It's a unicorn.
Yeah. But that's why you've noticed with me also. So you see, I see things, I see people. Like and it's gotten so quick with me now. I see it real quick what most people won't or don't. Right. So that element of it. And so thanks for calling me in. You called me in. So it's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
Girl,
good.
yeah, I got you. I do. I got you. And so
Because I want to say one more thing real quick. And thank you for that. Because I'm about to throw some people under the bus. But that's all right. Get between the wheels. What I realize is that also having a mature friend is so much easier because some of these babies I know they so brilliant, they know it all. And I say age is nothing but a number. But if you roll in at 34, 35, 40, 45, and trying to rank yourself and life experience with me, you're going to lose. Point blank. I'm not saying that I can't learn from anybody. One of my best teachers is a 4-year-old, but that's because she at the time hadn't started school yet and got around fools. That part.
yeah. You know, since we're talking about can you have anything you can imagine, I want to go back. Are we in summer yet? Or are we still in spring? I don't know. I lose track.
Look, if you in Cleveland, we
It's April. It's April. This is April, so we still in spring. Easter. Hey y'all, happy Easter.
is it spring for
Girl,
you?
this is Good Friday is coming up. So Easter is Sunday.
I
Yes.
know, but I don't.
It is, Tamiko. It is. But we finish in Lent. We just coming out of we on the tail end of Lent, you and I. So remember we started this, what was it, 40 days ago, almost 40 days ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is Good Friday. So happy Good Friday to my peeps out there, our peeps out there, who's listening to us for this episode. It's number 7 in season 3. We were just talking about that. But what I was about to say is that for your person, I think what I believe is that you must, I'm not even saying should, you must get to a space where you can begin to cultivate your ability to have imaginative experiences. It is, I don't care how old you are. And the reason why I asked was this spring or summer, because I had a memory. When I was younger, we always looked forward to going to amusement parks. Like every summer, that was like a treat. Like we would imagine like Cedar Point. For me, it was Cedar Point, Geauga Lake. I didn't even do Kings Island, but SeaWorld was another one. There was various different, like if I go way back in the day, Euclid Beach. Yeah, the Laughing Lady. Being sucked up onto the wall, the rotor wall. Girl, so these were like all types of experiences, I think, as children and when we were growing up, that we have had these experiences and we looked forward to them all the time. So probably over the winter months, what I was probably doing is imagining, like couldn't wait and imagining what next year would be. But what I didn't know, there was a whole nother type of experiences that I didn't even have a reference point for, which is for me, it was Disneyland. So once I went to, it's amazing. Once I went to Disneyland for the first time as a grown person with my great niece and nephew, I felt I was experiencing the park as if I was their age, not mine. And I share this with you because the value add for me at Disneyland was so much higher than the value add for me at a Euclid Beach or Geauga Lake or a SeaWorld or a Cedar Point. Because the value add, it was all of these things that was brought together, like theme characters, interaction, immersion with a story of being with Winnie the Pooh or being with Beauty and the Beast or going up and hugging Mickey or Goofy. So I was engaging into a story. And as you know, stories are always telling us how the story in our, like, for example, the story in our head is always an imaginative process. It's an imaginative experience. So the better the story, the better the experience in your imagination, the better the outcome is going to be for your experience in life. And that's why it is the highest level of value in the marketplace, because it comes from within. So you see it before anybody else can see it. So you get to experience it experience it first. And then if you tell the story in the right way enough times, you get to become an expert of what that thing is going to look like when you decide finally to express it and deliver it to other people where they can experience it because you've seen it first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is like one of the most, it's one of the most, for me, motivational and inspiring things, because one thing that I know for sure as to how it has worked for me, it never ends.
Exactly.
It never gets old. It's always new. So the level, your ability to cultivate your imagination to produce whatever it is you think, whatever it is you think you can imagine, it's going to take some practice. Unfortunately, society has dampened that part of our potential. And that's a part of our potential that we should, that is there I go again with that shit. That is a part of our potential that must be worked on a daily basis if we're going to experience the highest level that we can as we live out this life here on earth.
And I'm going to put the word, even instead of must, I'm going to put the word can, that we can experience, that we can do it every day. Because it's like you said, the one thing that struck and vibrated in me when you said telling our stories. Okay. Because that's what we get to do. We get to create and we get to tell our story. Now, I don't know who came up with this saying, but I was in a women's group, and I forgot even what it was for, to come up later. But the point of it is, one of the imagination, what sits in my imagination right now is the fully funded freedom, right? And so it was just, and people may not know this. I don't even know if my son knows this. Now, my son has been to Disneyland and Disney World several times. I have never. And it was so funny because I remember telling a friend of mine that, and they were like, well, why not? I said, well, in my world of make believe, I deal with a lot of Disney characters on a regular. They just don't have on their costumes. So, and then there was an opportunity at one point, when I was really working in theater, and there was an opportunity to actually go down and work on a show that we were doing there. And I passed it up. I don't know what it was about it. I just was like, wow. So I love that story that you just gave, being able to experience it with your great niece and nephew, because that had to bring back nostalgia for you, and to see them enjoying it on that level. Because when Quentin would come back, oh, I had to hear about it for 2 or 3 weeks, because he was remembering every single detail from this to that and this to that. And so, but it was like his thing. But here was the beautiful part of it. Talking about imagination, because he always said, I'm going to work at Disney. I'm going to work for Disney, or I'm going to draw for Disney. And it was in a program in high school. And they wound up going to Orlando and was in this program in high school, and got to work with some of the animators for Disney for a week. Talk about that manifestation of imagination. Is that possible? And it's that simple.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that we also talked about in this series, our third season here, but also talking about wellness, because keeping a fresh imagination, I think it keeps you youthful.
It does.
It really keeps you youthful, right? Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're, well, I don't know, think you're right. I know you're right, only
Mhm.
because I remember when pickleball was first introduced to me. Y'all know I play pickleball every day, right?
Right. This is good. When was this? Tell me about this.
Oh my goodness. It was first introduced to me probably about 7 years ago.
Okay.
I had no idea what it was. One of my clients came in and I was doing her pedicure and she had just moved to the state of Florida. And we were just talking and she said she played pickleball. I'm like, what in the world is pickleball? I had that same look in my face when I tell people now that I play pickleball because I usually walk around in my pickleball attire and people say, what do you play, tennis? I said, no, I play pickleball. And they look at me that look that I had when I first heard about pickleball. Like, I'm like, it's okay, YouTube it. It's okay, it's okay. And you're right in that I used to imagine what that would be. Once I YouTubed it, I could get a visual of that's like. But once I took my great niece and nephew to the park to play it, we only played a couple of times that summer, 7 years ago. But I kept reliving the the ball hitting the paddle, and I knew it when I was on that court that day 7 years ago with them. I knew like the paddle just felt like a paddle that I wanted to play with. I wanted to play this game. It was only like 7 years later till I positioned myself in a community. I should say so. God positioned me in a community. Now I live in a place where it has a whole pickleball club with over 400 members, and I get a chance to go drive 3 minutes to a
Mhm.
pickleball court every
Mhm.
day on a regular. Now, when I go to Georgia, that ride is 20 minutes. But like you see, if I had to do the 20-minute thing every day, that would be kind of challenging. God knows like his child. He knows his child, like he knows how I am. Like 20 minutes every day would be a little bit stretch for me. Like, let me put her closer to the court. Now she's a pickleball champion because now she is more likely to get up and go do it every day. Is she can walk to the court if she wanted to, but she usually drives and she can slam it. Like people I was playing today, Tamiko, and I seen people that I hadn't seen for a whole year because we have people coming in and out of our community.
Right.
And the guy said, oh my God, you are so much better than you were a year ago. I said, you think? So yeah, so that whole imaginative process, and so I'm in a tournament the first weekend in May. I have a partner. I think I was sharing in earlier conversations that I was having
Mhm.
challenges finding partners for a pickleball tournament who actually wanted to pay to be in a tournament. Now I have and I didn't see. Listen, Al, listen, just listen at this one for a minute. I just kept that story in my head.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the partner texted me, Marnita, there's a tournament going on. It's near Daytona Beach on the first weekend in May. She said, you want to partner up? And she's the one I asked at first to be my partner, and a whole other story happened with that and it fell through. But she came back. I never went back and asked her again, but I kept the story in my head, which goes back to the question. Which goes back, can you have anything you can imagine?
Yes.
And the answer is yes.
Yes, you can.
But, okay, I'm gonna put this caveat in there. Y'all ready for it? It's almost like the framework, but I'm gonna call it a caveat right now. You have to be willing to experience what's unpredictable.
Mhm.
You have to be willing to experience what is uncomfortable. And you have to be willing to experience what's uncommon.
And you have to be willing to do all three of those anyway.
So if you're not willing to go through to walk in the experience of unpredictability, uncomfortable, and uncommon. Child, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, I'm gonna pick up that word. Like, I'm getting that, like, I'm saying that more, I'm hearing myself saying it more. Child, I'm gonna pick up that word.
You can tell you've been in Georgia.
Right.
That's it.
So unpredictable, uncomfortable, and uncommon. So what most of us are used to doing is we eat to get strength to work. 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 You don't need no imagination to do that.
Okay.
So it's not predictable that you're gonna, it's not you know you're gonna eat. That's not unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you eat enough, you're gonna get stronger. That's not uncommon.
Okay.
Okay. Now you know you're gonna go to work. That can be uncomfortable, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, true.
You know what, Tamiko? And here's the deal. I don't think most of us are doing what we want to be doing.
That part. I just was sitting here like,
I know you was. I know you was.
Because even about even the part with eating, you're supposed to eat for nourishment, but some people eat for their imagination because they allow themselves
Just
to
said
think
a thing there, girl. Oh my God, I had to lean back in my big chair for that.
right. People eat for their imagination. And then for the uncomfortable, you eat what's not even good for you and call it comfort food, and then wonder why you are starting to have ailments in the body that show up that's tearing you all the way up. But we cool because your imagination is telling you okay.
So that is so good to me. You just said a thing there, girl.
Okay. That part.
So because I know that a lot of people don't know how to use the imagination ability that is innate in their personhood, their being, the essence of who they are. Because it's been beating it, like society, your experiences, culture, whatever you want to call it, has just not made that a priority of development in your life. You didn't know. See, I'm always kind of like tenuous in saying this, you didn't know, because Tamika gonna come up behind me and is like, Marnita, they knew.
They
I know how she is. I know how she
they knew. They knew. Don't tell me like no.
I know if you ever worked with her, you know how she is too.
Oh, they know. Like, wait, what? Okay.
Right. I know how she do. Like, I know how she do. But I say that like in like heartfelt. Now this is coming from the heart. Is that you owe it to yourself to expose that level to yourself in order for you to experience everything that God has for you.
And I'm telling you, I am here as your personal witness, folks. It all does not have to be bad. I am so in awe of people's conversation, and they don't even hear the words that are coming out of their mouth. Okay? Because in some folks' imagination, they have made it one complete horror film that would make Stephen King look like Disney. Okay? Because of the negative. It's like, well, how would you turn that around? How would you turn that around? How would you turn that around? Okay. Oh man, just again, and going inward with the imagination, where the what if of the imagination, because people can't imagine. What I'm finding that happens too with maturity, if people have never gotten there, or even if they have, oftentimes the imagination has a lot to do with, what can I get? I want the car, I want the house, or whatever. You know, if you're on the second life tier, she up here looking for the little boy toy, he looking for the black Barbie, white Barbie, whatever. But what if your imagination takes you back to that childhood self of the imagination bringing about experiences? Like you said, the two things that you talked about, like, I want to play pickleball. Somebody's told me about this pickleball and I want to do this. That's about an experience. And that experience has you exercising, has you meeting great people, have you in a development of active, okay, mature seniors, okay. And now I have to say this, and you get to play outside all
Every day.
year round, every day.
Every day.
Okay. So just the idea of that is so beautiful and so enticing that you brought that into your world. Because see, mine is like to be in the Caribbean with my sundress on. All right. Daily.
There you go.
Okay. That is it. That, man, listen. If I
So,
one more person in Cleveland when it's 56 degrees talking about it's nice outside.
girl, I'm all bundled up at 50 degrees in Cleveland. I got on the leg warmer.
Look, y'all see, I got my highlights showing because it's so cold. I can't even shave my head. I'm like, I can't with y'all. Y'all on some trash.
Yeah.
56 degrees. And folks is talking about, oh, it's nice.
Now, what I will say, and we're almost done with this conversation, but what I will say for those of you who are trying to navigate your way to experiencing living in your imagination, because that's really the true space, because what you imagine, you end up seeing and expressing in the outer world, is that know that the level of your imagination and how you experience is going to be determined by the value of the questions that you ask yourself to begin to precipitate an imaginative experience.
Exactly.
So think about the questions that you're asking yourself in regards to what it is you're trying to experience. Because of what I know for sure, in order to experience anything, you have to become the person who can experience it.
Got it. Yep. And you don't even have to believe it. You just got to dream it. And then you start moving towards belief.
And then once you start really living it in your head, you begin to like, okay, what do I need to do? You're imagining, like for me, I'm imagining how I need to hit that ball instead of missing it. I'm imagining how do I get that ball over the net and get it inbounds instead of out of bounds. You become an expert in your story, in your imaginative story. You become the expert. And then once you become that means like once you become the person, you begin to do the things that person can do based on the story that you've created in your head. And then once you can do that thing, become the expert of the story of what you've created in your head, now you can start to express it in real time.
Exactly.
Because the community will come to you. You won't even have to search out the community.
Exactly. That part. That's the beauty about all of it. when you are living in your true self, enjoying, having fun, man, you bring that to you. You bring it to you. It's like you level up. We talked about this in another episode too. It's like back in the day when, because now people don't even work in buildings anymore. But when you would go in downtown to executive buildings, and when you had that VIP level, the elevator didn't even stop on the first 13 floors.
It went past all
It
of them.
went past all of that. It didn't start hitting floors until 14, 15, 15. And then when you got to the higher CEO levels and penthouse levels, you had to have a key card or something to get that door to open. It was like, man. So we
And
have to be able, I'm sorry.
that is so good, girl. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember those types of experiences.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so that like when you hit a certain level, it's just certain things you get to bypass all of that. You don't even have to stop on those floors anymore. Your level of imaginations in the frame and the essence that what will open up for you. It is so awesome. It is so awesome. And what I enjoy so much in our practice and working with people, because as a spiritual coach and mentor, and what do? I introduce you to you.
Mm-hmm.
I see the beauty in you. If we working together, I see the beauty in you. Okay, because I only work with beautiful people.
Right.
And if that just offended you, it's probably because you still haven't found your beauty. You'll be all right. All right. But because we all have an essence of beauty in us. But just like you talked about I always be like, yeah, they do. Da da da. Because the people that I work with are the people that didn't either forgot they had it, or it's been mentally mangled out of them being able to find it. I don't know. But if I see you and in our conversation I feel you, then we can find it. We can help you get to it. I want to bring this up real quick, but it speaks to a class that I'm taking. And my classmate, it's a hypnosis class, and she came right in with the whole, I can't be hypnotized. So I'm thinking, well, what the hell you take the class for? Excuse me. And so I said, okay, that's cool, so do it. And she said something, and it was like a gong, right? And I said, she said, well, people want to take me under, and then they want me, and they did it. And I was like, wow, I just sat back. Because based on what she has said about some other things, and then the whole idea of some random stranger or even somebody that now there's going to mess with your mind, supposedly, and they are going to want you to do something. Right. And that's the myth of his hypnosis. Hypnosis is about what you can do for yourself. So I just said, have you ever thought about you've done this a couple of times, you've taken class. Have you ever thought about recording your own voice? Taking the script, recording your own voice, and seeing if that would help you get into a relaxed state? She's like, no. It's okay, think about it. And she was like, Now imagine you've gone and taken all these classes and you've done all these things, and she's an educator.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's in Florida. But just hearing her in the induction of her, filling out the information, and I'm hearing her, that whole statement I'm like, that right there is the problem. Right? So yeah. Just because you sign up don't mean you necessarily, want to get that experience. But the imagination. So it was great to say that she did experience something and she didn't fall right to sleep.
All right.
So that was the cool part.
That's so good.
Yeah. But it was like, you know, the beautiful thing about imagination too is that it allows us to know that at any point in time we can first of all change our mind, and that, yeah, like you said, going back to main thing, and I think we talked about this before as well, it's all possible. It is all possible.
We just got to get out of our own way.
Yeah,
Get out of your way.
that's it. That's it. You know, I can say this part. Now I'm gonna say this for the next show. But remind me to speak to um ministry.
Ministry. Okay.
Yeah. So remind me this, because I just like, well, hold it for a minute. Cause yeah, this yeah.
This is good, Tamiko. I was excited to have this conversation because that's where I live right now. I do
Nice.
live in my imagination.
Awesome. That is huge, y'all. Yo,
Yeah, I do. Nothing else really matters to me.
amen.
And I am just fine.
Exactly.
Like
As you are. Exactly.
everything that's happening outside, I am pretty much unaware of that. Like people have to really like bring it to my attention because I am literally clueless of anything that is not happening within my imagination.
All right. Well, you stay grounded though. I'm gonna send you a grounded meditation. Grounded.
I stay grounded. I'm a minimalist in regards to staying grounded.
Okay.
Give me just enough to stay grounded. Just like whatever it is I need to stay grounded. I have people around me who do ground me.
Okay. I know that's right. Who we?
I do. It's 3
Okay.
people. It's like a tripod.
Okay.
So I can stay stable.
Okay.
I do have 3 people around me who ground me. Because I do live 90, maybe even a little bit more % of my life in my imagination.
Awesome. Stay there. Keeps you youthful, keeps you healthy, and you have a lot of fun.
And I have a lot of fun. I love it. So thank you for being here with us in this episode of Can You Have Anything You Can Imagine? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully you may have to listen to this a couple of times because we said some pretty impactful and influential things in this conversation today. And if you received anything for it, if it was a value add for you, like we said in the beginning, please share it with someone else and subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. This is Tamiko J. We signing off. But I want to say have a very blessed Easter Sunday. All righty. And enjoy. And tell somebody you love them for Easter. How about that?
I love you, Tamiko.
I love you, Marnita.
Bye.
Bye.